Hello and welcome to the first episode for our Let's Play of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, Volume 2, The Two Towers. This was the sequel to The Fellowship of the Ring, released in 1992, and unfortunately it would also be the last in the series. I guess the series wasn't profitable enough to finish it out and make The Return of the King. So this will be the last game in this series that we'll get to play. And it's largely similar to The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship. If you played through that, everything will feel very familiar to you in this one. The big difference is that you'll be switching between the three different groups of characters. You'll have Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli as one, and Merry and Pippin as another, and Frodo and Sam as the third. And if you're familiar with the story, the books at all, you'll know why that is. One big thing we can actually do for the Two Towers before we start the game, and I mentioned it at the end of the last series, is that we can use our save data from The Lord of the Rings, Volume 1, and convert it over into 2. You'll keep some of the items that you can use, and I think some of your stats as well. I don't think you can carry over any skills you may have acquired in the first game. So I'll show you how to do that first. What you want to do is just pull up your folders where you have your Lord of the Rings save game data over here, and where all the Two Towers data is, another. And depending on which save file you want to use, remember there were 2 slots for the Fellowship. If you want to use the first save spot, you'll want to look for this file, data1.bin, and if you want to use the second save spot, it'll just say data2.bin. So whichever one of those you want to use, just highlight it, copy it, and put it over into your Two Towers folder. And then we'll need to run this little program here in DOSBox. So pull up wherever you have the Two Towers, and then you'll just want to run convert, and that will bring everything over into the next game. So now we can go ahead and get started with the Two Towers. And we'll want to select a new game. And right off the bat, we notice we have a lot more save spots in the Two Towers here. Unfortunately, in the Two Towers, they didn't make an enhanced version or anything like that, so there won't be any video clips from Bakshi's movie. It'll look very familiar to the unenhanced version, the original Fellowship of the Ring version. So if you played that one, it'll look pretty similar as well. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started here. We'll have a little intro to kind of bridge the events from the first game to the second. And unfortunately, there's no real way to skip through this intro either. So you're just going to have to just bear with it as it goes. It can be a little slow at sometimes. You must take the ring to Mordor. Only in the fires of Mount Doom can it be destroyed. If I could command the ring, the power would pass to me. That's Saruman, I guess. Where is it? Where is it, my precious, my precious? It's ours, it is, and we wants it. Long ago, the elven smiths made rings of power, rings with the power to protect their realms from the ravages of time. But the Dark Lord Sauron betrayed the elves, forging the One Ring to rule those who wore the rings of power. Sauron lost his ring in battle and would eventually pass to the wretched creature Gollum. Then he lost it. Eventually it came into the possession of Frodo, a hobbit from the Shire. Frodo learned the truth about the ring and embarked on a great quest to destroy it. But the forces of the Dark Lord pursued the ring. and the evil wizard Saruman also wants the ring for his own. As does the wretched creature Gollum. During the quest, the wizard Gandalf was lost. Without his guidance, the Fellowship broke apart. The warrior Boromir was slain in battle, and the ring-bearer decided to depart with but a single companion. Some members of the Fellowship were captured by Saruman's forces. There's Merry and Pippin that were captured there. But they escaped during a battle, fleeing into a strange forest. So begins the second part of The Lord of the Rings. After giving Boromir a warrior's funeral, you pursue the orcs who carried away your friends, when you fall into an orc ambush. And so this will be the start of the game here. And we have Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli that we start with, and Aragorn's gotten a bit of a shave since the first game. But if we look at our items, we can see that some of the items carried over here. And Durrell we still have in the scabbard. Anyway, so the first thing we'll need to do is deal with these orcs. And combat, like I said, so much of the game is will feel very familiar to you if you played through the Fellowship. The tracks of your kidnapped comrades lead to the north. Aragorn says, "If the orcs deliver our friends to Saruman, all shall be lost. They must be rescued at once. Let us fly north, and when our friends are found, then our weary limbs may rest." So we'll want to follow the tracks north. Among the tracks of the iron-shod orcs, you find the footprints of several folk which are clearly not orcs. They must belong to your kidnapped comrades. The trail continues northwards. So we'll want to keep following it. You have come upon a strange battlefield. Here orcs with the badge of the White Hand fought orcs from the north. The orcs with the White Hand won and fled northwest. And we can get some ale. That's one difference you'll notice in the second game. When you get some items, when you find items you can pick up, one of them will sort of appear, like this giant stein of ale. So we'll want to grab that. Keep going north. To the west you can see the dust of horses in the distance. To the north there is a battlefield. Your keen eyes spot something you did not expect to see, an elven brooch, which had been given to your friends that had been taken away by the orcs. So we'll grab the brooch. And it said we saw horses in the west, so we'll go after them. You hear the hooves of skilled horsemen nearby. You can tell that they are the riders of Rohan, allies of Gondor. Do you choose to reveal yourself to them? Yeah, we will. The horsemen are led by Éomer, first Marshal of Rohan. He seems somewhat suspicious of your intentions, but you persuade him that you mean no harm. Éomer and his men have returned from battle against orcs. He claims that none survived it. He's willing to welcome the help of those who would fight against the orcs, though he says that someone is advising the king to let the orcs alone. Well, we'll talk to the riders here. So we'll talk to Éomer. I think if you try and talk to the others, they'll just tell you to talk to Éomer. Of what do you wish to speak, friend? And there are a lot of things you can ask Éomer about, so we'll ask him about the orcs. Some orcs might have fled westward before we caught sight of them, but none survived the battle. I'll ask him news. Theodred, son of Theoden, is dead. There was a battle at the fords of Isen, and he fell. All of Rohan mourns him. Said, we'll ask him about Rohan, since that's apparently where we are. Great are my fears for my people, now that the orcs of Orthanc have joined to those of the Dark Tower. And we know that Saruman is controlling the orcs with a white hand. Maybe I'll know something about him. Once we thought him the friend of Rohan, but no longer. He commands orcs of great strength. He mentioned the king as well. Our king is Theoden, Thengil's son, my uncle. He has been ill of late, and none have found healing for him. I fear the king's illness is a work of Saruman. Would that powerful magic undo it, and our king return to us. What else can we ask him about? The forest, we can ask him about. Strange legends are woven about the forest of Fangel. Many who enter do not return. And you can ask him more. You can ask him about Aedoras and Orthanc some more, but he doesn't really give you anything besides information, so we'll leave him alone for now. And we are quite near the forests, just to the north of us. So if we go north, we can maybe explore up there and see if that will give us any more results. Looking up, you see an old bent man leaning on a staff and wrapped in a cloak. His wide-brimmed hat is pulled down over his eyes. He makes neither sight nor sound. When you move towards him, he is gone. Well, maybe he went deeper into the forest here. You spot an old man walking wearily and leaning on a rough staff. His head is bowed, and he is not looking at you. He's wearing a hood and a wide-brimmed hat that covers his face. Well met, my friends. I wish to speak with you, he says. Let's see what he has to say. Oldman. The forest has not seen the likes of you beneath its boughs in many years. That is a tale worth telling. He seems to know a little bit about the forest. I come here now and again. To know it well would be the study of many lives of men. You can ask him about the tale he was talking about. Some would say it was not worth telling. Fortunately, I know some of it. You lost some friends. Yes, hobbits. Now don't act as though you've not heard the name. We all know better. We'll ask him about hobbits then. Yes, I know the name. You traveled with them through many perils. Well, he knows that some of our friends have been kidnapped. News? You have made a dangerous enemy, one who would destroy you, one who is very near to you. I wonder what enemy he's talking about. You are an enemy of the wizard Saruman, are you not? He is a most dangerous enemy, as are all wizards. Maybe I'll know a little more about Saruman. Yes, we look very much alike, do we not? The old man moves quickly at the mention of Saruman's name. His hood and his rags vanish, revealing a figure of great power robed in shining white. Gandalf. Well met again, I say, Gandalf says. No blame to you and no harm done to me. Indeed, none of you has any weapon that could hurt me. The tide has turned. The great storm has come, but the tide has turned. You notice that Gandalf is robed in white. Yes, Gandalf notes. I am in white now. Indeed, I am Saruman, one might almost say. Saruman as he should have been. You discuss what has happened to the Fellowship since Gandalf left you. Your friends are safe, Gandalf says. They are with Treebeard and the Ents. We must leave. Several messenger orcs survived the battle against Éomer. They must not be allowed to reach Isengard. The orcs fled westward, toward East Emnet. The villages in the region have been devastated by Saruman. We should help the survivors and then hurry to Aedoras. Saruman will soon invade Rohan. King Theoden is in grave peril, and if Rohan falls, our hopes are greatly diminished. Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam are descending the cliffs around the dead marshes. And this is what I was talking about. You'll switch between your different groups of characters, and there's no real set like schedule or pattern to that. So your game might play out a little differently than mine. But all the events should happen, in the same order. The only difference will be when your parties are switched out. After crossing the Great River, the Ring-Bearer proceeds on the next stage of his quest to Mordor. The gifts of the Lady Galadriel are at your side. You have found something useful. There are a couple. You'll definitely want to grab the file. If you don't grab any other of these items, the file and the elf cloaks are what you want. But we'll go ahead and take everything else as well. But like I said, the file you absolutely must have. Frodo says, "We must find a way into Mordor. I see marshes in the southeast. The orcs might not follow us there." And we have a little bit of a color differentiation now between the hobbits. Instead of them being all blue, Frodo's in blue and Sam's in red. But I think this will be a good place for us to bring this episode to a close. And so in the next episode, we will start exploring the marshes that Frodo mentioned to the southeast.